the best thing you can do would be to avoid certain foods in terms of longevity, right? So if you can avoid industrial seed oils, if you can avoid sugar beverages, added sugar to whatever it is you're eating, if you can avoid processed grain products, those are sort of the first level of being on the road to longevity. 3 foods that you can eat, I would say always, number one, a quality source of protein, right? So whether you're into carnivore and you're eating a lot of steak, lamb, pork, or you're pescatarian and you eat fish, that's a great source. Eggs are a great source of protein. Even if you are a vegetarian, you can probably mix and match some of your bean sources and your rice things, and that's not my area of expertise, and I don't highly recommend it. But if that's your thing, there's a way to optimize protein intake in that regard.
Can you talk a little bit about why that's so important for longevity?
Well, I think we can take a step back and say that longevity, my idea of longevity is like, how can I live the longest thriving? I don't want to just live long and be sitting in a wheelchair drooling and wondering who it is that I'm talking to. So I want to define longevity in certain regards with mobility. I want to be mobile throughout the rest of my life, not just to be able to get around and leave my apartment, if you will, but to travel the world and to experience face-to-face interactions with people. And then access to cognition, to memory. So if I'm able to access thought and respond to questions and have mental pictures of things that happened to me, not just last week, but 40 years ago. So mobility and cognition are the 2 big issues there. Once you sort of get over that first kind of goal, check that box off, muscle mass is the big determining factor of whether your body can keep up with those goals, whether your body can produce enough energy to move around and to be able to maintain a strong, active, lean muscle mass, to pump blood to the brain so that the brain works sufficiently, and so that the capillaries within the brain are not clogged up or with plaque or whatever. So muscle mass becomes an object or an objective, and how we get muscle mass is by doing work, by creating the need for the body to want to build muscle, or at the very least to want to hold on to muscle, right? So our body, typically our bodies want to be lazy. They want to conserve energy. They want to sit around all day and do nothing. They don't want to burn fat stores. Our bodies are kind of these survival packages that we have with us, and we sort of have to trick them, if you will, into doing things that take energy, because we know that energy is available. So if we can say, I'm going to go to the gym and lift weights, that's going to prompt my body with certain biochemical responses to the workout, whether it's lactic acid or whether it's metabolites of any of the high-intensity workout. The genes that I have, the genetic recipe that I have within me, will respond by building more muscle, maintaining muscle mass, or getting stronger. So these are, so the challenge is to figure out what signals are going to optimize my muscle mass, and certainly eating protein is a integral part of your body's ability to repair and build muscle once you've done the workout. So doing the workout is sort of step one, and I mean, a lot of people, and you and I know a lot of people who work out too much. You know, they think the workout is what's causing the body to respond and build muscle, but it's a combination of that hormetic event, that short-term stress, and a little bit of rest and nutrition, and that's where the protein comes in. So now, you know, we want to lift weights, we want to increase the amount of protein we take in so that the body responds by either maintaining or building more muscle mass and more strength. Certainly protein is involved in enzyme creation as well. So all the enzymes that are controlling the different biochemical processes going on in the body involve amino acids and protein. So it's a complex equation, And the muscle mass thing, people don't quite grasp. Like why would muscle mass be so integral to longevity? I know old people who are skinny and they've lived a long time and they don't appear to have much muscle mass. Well, muscle mass, that part of the equation, combined with strength and power, is what causes the rest of the organs in the body to have a reason to keep up with the muscles. So it's a little bizarre, but the brain says, I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to lift weights, and I'm going to do curls, or I'm going to do squats, and then the signal goes to the body to build these muscles up, to get stronger, to keep up with the amount of work that the brain is choosing to do. But in the process, the body is trying to figure out how best to utilize all of the organs to achieve this goal. So when you say, I'm going to lift a heavy leg day, the heart goes, I guess I got to beat faster to keep up with the demands that this clown is putting on me right now in the gym. So the heart has to beat stronger. Or if you say, I'm going to go for a hike or whatever, the heart has to beat stronger. If you are doing intervals, if you're doing high-intensity intervals, the lungs have to breathe deeply. And so they have to inspire, and they have to take in oxygen to provide that oxygen to help fuel the muscles to do the work that you're choosing to do. The liver has to process fuel more efficiently. And so by choosing to do the work and by choosing to use muscle mass and muscle strength as sort of the focal point, everything else comes into play here, and you get this complete individual that is now not just strong and able to move around the world and do the things that people who are older want to do, travel the world and have access to memories, but is also in a situation where you get up in the middle of the night to take a leak and you trip. And if you're strong, you trip and you laugh it off and you walk over and you do when you go back to sleep. But if you don't have the muscle mass, if you don't have the balance, if you haven't worked all these systems, the typical sad scenario is that the old person gets up in the middle of the night, trips, falls, breaks a hip. The hip breaks, by the way, because the bone is not strong enough. The bone density has been compromised because the person didn't do enough weight-bearing activity to cause the body to want to build stronger bones. You know, you got to dig that if you don't go to the gym and you don't do this work, the body goes, hey, don't need to build muscle, don't need the heart to beat that fast, don't need the lungs to breathe in that much, don't need the bones to be that strong. Why would I waste valuable resources building strong bones if we're not going to do anything with it? So now the person winds up with a broken hip in the hospital, and the sad trajectory is typically they get pneumonia in the hospital, and they can't cough well enough to get rid of the sputum, and then the heart can't beat enough to keep up with the demands of the infection because you've only been working at 10% of capacity for the last 15 years. And so you die of congestive heart failure, or die of pneumonia, and ultimately people die of basically organ failure. People don't die of old age. They die of whatever organ says, I'm out, whatever organ taps out first. So longevity is really this sort of game we play of how to maintain muscle mass, how to maintain aerobic capacity, how to maintain liver strength. We call it vital capacity of the different organs, and vital reserve. And if you understand this basic concept, then it makes sense that you would go to the gym and do squats once a week, and do pull-ups, and do a little bit of sprinting